The leather portfolio hit the table so hard the champagne glasses jumped. I was 6 months pregnant, wearing emerald silk my fiancé picked out,
Stop it. You're making
surrounded
me
by
blush.
family at our rehearsal dinner. 3 days before I was supposed to marry a millionaire. Then Dominic slid 73 pages across the white tablecloth and said,
There are
"Sign the
73
prenup
pages
now."
detailing exactly what
His
you're
mistress sat beside him,
Dominic, how could you?
smirking, like she'd been waiting for this moment. I'd ignored the red flags for months. The late-night text, the unexplained charges, the assistant who knew too much about my life. But
The
sitting
wedding
there,
is canceled.
staring at a contract designed to strip me of everything, I finally saw the truth. This wasn't love. This was a trap. And the prenup? That was just the beginning. What I discovered in the next 72 hours would reveal a pattern so calculated, so cruel, that it had destroyed women before me. Women he had gotten pregnant, married, then discarded like broken toys. I had a choice: sign and surrender, or walk away from everything, the wedding, the money, the fairy tale, with nothing but my daughter and my dignity. I chose the harder path, and what happened next changed my life forever. This is the story of how I went from a millionaire's fiancée to a single mother fighting the most powerful man I'd ever known, and somehow, impossibly, won. Stay with me, because if you've ever ignored your instincts, if you've ever been told you're crazy for seeing the truth, if you've ever had to choose between comfort and freedom, this story is for you. Let's begin. The leather portfolio hit the table so hard the champagne glasses jumped. Charlotte Reed, Charlie to everyone who loved her, watched the amber liquid slosh against crystal. 6 months pregnant and wearing emerald silk that Dominic had picked out himself, she'd been mid-laugh at something her mother said when the sound cut through the private dining room like a gunshot. The room at Celestia was supposed to be perfect. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city, white linen tablecloths, 47 roses in the centerpiece. She'd counted them twice while waiting for Dominic to arrive. Her mother Grace sat to her left, warm hand resting near Charlie's water glass. Her best friend Trish sat to her right, phone out, probably finalizing some last-minute wedding detail, because that's what wedding planners did even at their own client's rehearsal dinner. Across the table, Dominic Pierce, her fiancé, the man she'd loved for 2 years, the father of her unborn daughter. His salt and pepper hair perfectly styled, his custom suit probably worth more than her car. His father Julian beside him, 75 years old and looking like money incarnate. And Vanessa Hartley, 26 years old, Dominic's executive assistant. The woman who'd been at every wedding meeting, every venue tour, every cake tasting, always helpful, always hovering, always there. Charlie had told herself she was being paranoid, hormonal, insecure because pregnancy had changed her body in ways she was still learning to accept. But the way Vanessa looked at Dominic, like she owned him, made Charlie's stomach twist in ways that had nothing to do with morning sickness. Dominic stood. Everyone fell silent. Charlie thought he was going to make a toast. Her hand moved instinctively to her belly where their daughter kicked and tumbled. "Before we go any further, Charlotte, there's something we need to handle." His voice was different, colder than she'd ever heard it. He pushed the portfolio across the white tablecloth, leaving a slight mark in the fabric. "The prenup. My lawyers finalized it this morning. I need you to sign it tonight." The room tilted. Charlie's ears rang. "Dom, we talked about this. You said we'd wait until after the baby came. You said..." "I changed my mind." He sat down, took a sip of his scotch. "Sign it, now." Her hands shook as she opened the portfolio. 73 pages. Legal language that blurred before her eyes. She forced herself to focus. No claim to marital assets. No ownership stake in his companies. If the marriage ended before 10 years, she received nothing. There was an infidelity clause, but only for her. If she cheated, she forfeited everything. If he cheated, the prenup remained unchanged. And there, on page 47, a clause that made bile rise in her throat. If pregnant at time of separation, paternity testing required before any support determined. "I don't understand." Charlie's voice came out small, childlike. She hated how weak she sounded. "You said you trusted me. You said..." "Things changed, Charlotte." Vanessa's voice cut through, soft, amused, like she was enjoying this. Charlie's head snapped up. Vanessa's hand rested on Dominic's shoulder. Not professionally, possessively. Her red nails curved slightly into the fabric of his jacket. The room came into sharp, terrible focus. You brought her. Charlie couldn't breathe. You brought your assistant to our rehearsal dinner to witness this. Vanessa understands business, unlike some people. Dominic checked his watch. $42,000 on his wrist. She knew because she'd been with him when he bought it. I have a conference call in an hour. Sign the prenup or the wedding is off. Your choice. Grace reached for Charlie's hand under the table, squeezed hard. Charlie looked at her quieter and saw tears threatening to spill. Trish had gone completely still, phone forgotten on the table. Julian Pierce smiled into his scotch glass. Actually smiled. Dominic, this is hardly the time or place. Grace's voice shook with controlled fury. If you wanted Charlie to review a legal document, you could have done it privately, with proper representation. I'm doing it now. Dominic's jaw tightened. Charlotte has had 9 months to think about our future. I've been patient, but I'm not walking into a marriage without protecting what I've built. 9 months? Charlie's brain caught on the timeline. I've been pregnant for 6 months. Don't be dramatic. You know what I mean. But she didn't. That was the problem. Nothing made sense. The baby kicked. Hard. Like she was trying to escape. Charlie understood the feeling. I need time to read this, to have a lawyer look at it. You have 10 minutes. Dominic pulled out his phone, started scrolling. Like this was a business meeting. Like she was a problem to solve instead of the woman carrying his child. Vanessa leaned back in her chair, crossed her legs. The slit in her black dress showed entirely too much thigh for a professional assistant at a rehearsal dinner. Charlie's hands moved over the pages, trying to comprehend. Her graphic design degree hadn't prepared her for this. She understood color theory and typography, not legal contracts designed to strip her of any security. Page 63. Upon dissolution of marriage, all gifts given during courtship revert to Dominic Pierce's ownership, including but not limited to jewelry, artwork, and the engagement ring. The 3-carat diamond on her left hand suddenly felt like a shackle. Page 68. Charlotte Reed agrees to sign a non-disclosure agreement regarding all personal and professional matters related to Dominic Pierce and Pierce Ventures. He wanted to gag her. That's what this was. Not just a prenup, a silencing. This isn't a prenup. Charlie's voice came out stronger now, clearer. This is a hostage negotiation. It's a standard agreement for high net worth individuals. Your first wife didn't sign something like this. Silence. Heavy. Dangerous. Dominic's eyes went dark. How do you know about Andrea? How do you think? Charlie gestured at the portfolio. I'm not an idiot, Dominic. You were married before. You have a daughter, 4 years old, Lily, and you never told me. Vanessa's smile faltered. Just for a second, Julian stopped smiling into his scotch. We agreed never to discuss Andrea. Dominic's voice dropped low, threatening. No, you decided we wouldn't discuss her. There's a difference. The baby kicked again, 3 times, fast, like applause. Grace stood up. Charlotte, we're leaving. Sit down. Dominic didn't look at Grace, kept his eyes locked on Charlie. If she walks out of here without signing, the wedding is canceled. All deposits forfeited, and I'll make sure everyone knows why, that she was too greedy to sign a reasonable agreement. Reasonable? Trish finally found her voice. You ambushed her at a dinner party 3 days before the wedding, with your mistress watching. There's nothing reasonable about this. Vanessa is my assistant. Vanessa is sitting there like she owns you, and based on the way you're letting her touch you, maybe she does. Dominic's face flushed red. Trish, you're fired. I don't work for you, I work for Charlie. Not anymore. Security will escort you out. Charlie watched this unfold like she was underwater. Everything moved slow and distorted. Her fiancé firing her best friend, his assistant smirking, his father watching with cold satisfaction. This couldn't be real. This was a nightmare. Any second she'd wake up and laugh about how pregnancy hormones made her dream the most ridiculous scenarios. But the baby kicked again, reminding her, anchoring her. This was real. This was happening. Charlie stood. The room swayed. She gripped the edge of the table. I need air. You need to sign. Dominic's voice. I need air. Louder now, firmer. She walked toward the bathroom. Heard Grace and Trish following. Behind her, Dominic's voice. You have 10 minutes, Charlotte. Then I'm leaving, with or without your signature. The bathroom was all marble and gold fixtures. Too bright, too clean, too much. Charlie made it to the sink before her knees buckled. Trish caught her. Grace locked the door. Breathe, baby girl, just breathe. But Charlie couldn't breathe, couldn't think. The emerald dress that had felt sophisticated an hour ago now felt like a costume. She was playing dress-up in someone else's life. Someone who belonged at five-star restaurants with men who threw prenups at them. How long have you known? The words came out between gasps. Charlie looked at Trish in the mirror. Trish's face crumpled. Known what? About Vanessa. About him. Silence. Trish, how long? I wasn't sure. I suspected. 3 months, maybe 4. Trish's voice broke. The way she looked at him at the venue tours, the way he looked at her when he thought no one was watching. Charlie, I'm so sorry. I should have said something. But I didn't have proof, and you were so happy about the baby and the wedding, and I didn't want to. You should have told me. Charlie turned to face her friend. You should have told me. I know. God, I know. Grace pulled Charlie close, careful of her belly. What do you want to do, sweetheart? What did she want? She wanted to rewind 6 months. To the night Dominic proposed. Valentine's Day. Roses and champagne and a ring she'd barely had time to admire before he was sliding it on her finger. No, further back. To the night she told him about the pregnancy. February 10th. She'd bought a onesie that said Daddy's new boss and put it in a gift box. Dominic had opened it, stared at it, then looked at her with an expression she couldn't read. You're sure? 3 tests, all positive. He'd pulled her close, kissed her hair, said all the right things. We'll figure it out. We'll make it work. I love you. But his hand on her back had been stiff, his kiss perfunctory, and 4 days later, he'd proposed. On one knee, the ring she'd mentioned months before. The perfect story to tell their friends. She'd thought it was romance. Now she saw it for what it was. Damage control. Charlie's phone buzzed. Text from her brother Mason. Mom just texted me. I'm 20 minutes out. Do not sign anything. Then another text. This one made her hands shake harder. Dominic's father, Julian, to Grace. Copied to Charlie. Your daughter is embarrassing both our families. Perhaps you failed to teach her the difference between love and business. I suggest she sign the agreement and stop this theatrical display. He copied me. Charlie showed the phone to her mother. Julian actually copied me on a text calling me an embarrassment. Grace's face went hard. That man raised a monster. And now we see why. Someone pounded on the bathroom door. Ms. Reed, I'm building security. Mr. Pierce asked me to inform you that your time is up. He's leaving in 5 minutes. Through the door, like she was a problem to remove. Charlie looked at herself in the mirror, really looked. Emerald dress. Diamond earrings Dominic bought her for her birthday. Hair and makeup done by professionals he'd insisted on hiring. Even her appearance belonged to him. She pulled out her phone, opened the camera, took a photo of herself. Mascara starting to run, eyes red. 6 months pregnant in a bathroom at Celestia restaurant while her fiancé waited outside with his mistress. She sent it to herself. Evidence, documentation, proof that this moment happened. Then she unlocked the door. Security guard, young, uncomfortable. Ma'am, Mr. Pierce is waiting. Tell Mr. Pierce I'll be there in a moment. She walked back to the table. Grace and Trish flanked her like bodyguards. The private room had mostly emptied. Just Dominic, Vanessa, Julian, the portfolio still on the table, a pen beside it, waiting. Well, Dominic didn't stand, didn't look at her, kept scrolling through his phone. Charlie picked up the portfolio, all 73 pages, held it for a moment, then set it back down. Unsigned. No, finally Dominic looked up. Excuse me? No, I'm not signing this. Not tonight, not ever. Her voice didn't shake. The baby kicked. Approval. The wedding is canceled. Charlotte, don't be stupid. You are pregnant. You have no job. You live in an apartment that I pay half the rent on. You think you can afford to raise a child alone? I think I can't afford not to. She pulled the engagement ring off her finger. 3 carats, $68,000. She'd seen the receipt once when it fell out of Dominic's desk, set it on top of the portfolio. You can have this back. According to page 63, it legally belongs to you anyway. Vanessa's mouth opened slightly, surprised. Good. Julian Pierce stood up. Young lady, you're making a mistake that will cost you dearly. The only mistake I made was believing your son was capable of love. Charlie looked at Dominic, really looked at him, saw him clearly for the first time. You knew you were going to do this. From the moment I told you I was pregnant, you've been planning this. The proposal, the wedding, all of it. A carefully orchestrated play to make sure I had no leverage. No options. That's absurd. Is it? Tell me, Dominic, when did you first contact a family lawyer? His jaw tightened. Confirmation. That's what I thought. Charlie picked up her purse. Her mother and Trish moved toward the door. I hope Vanessa enjoys her victory. Something tells me she'll be in my position soon enough. Men like you don't change. You just find new victims. She walked toward the exit. Each step felt like miles. You'll regret this. Dominic's voice, hard, cruel. I'll make sure everyone knows what you really are. A gold digger who got pregnant to trap a rich man. And when that didn't work, you tried to extort me. Charlie stopped, turned. You can tell whatever story you want. I'm going to tell the truth. We'll see which one people believe. Outside, the November air hit her face like a blessing, cold and clean and real. Grace pulled her close on one side, Trish on the other. The three of them stood on the sidewalk outside Celestia, while valets brought cars around, and the city moved on around them, indifferent to the implosion of Charlie's carefully planned future. Her phone buzzed. Mason, where are you? I'm almost there. Charlie typed back with shaking hands. It's over. Wedding's canceled. Can you come get us? 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Then, on my way, proud of you, sis. Charlie looked up at the restaurant. Through the window, she could see Dominic and Vanessa, standing close, his hand on her waist, not hiding anymore. No need to. The baby kicked, not frantically this time, just once, gentle, like reassurance. It's just us now, Charlie whispered, hand on her belly. Just us, and we're going to be okay. She didn't believe it yet, but she would. She had to. Mason arrived 16 minutes later driving Grace's car because his own was in the shop. He pulled up to the curb like a getaway driver, passenger door already open. Get in, now. Charlie climbed into the back seat. 6 months pregnant made everything awkward. Grace slid in beside her. Trish took the front passenger seat. Where's Dominic? Mason checked the rear view mirror like he expected pursuit. Still inside, probably celebrating with his mistress and his father. Mason pulled into traffic. Start from the beginning. Tell me everything. So Charlie did. The portfolio, the 73 pages, the 10-minute ultimatum, Vanessa's hand on Dominic's shoulder. The way Julian Pierce had smiled into his scotch like this was all exactly according to plan. By the time she finished, they were sitting in Mason's apartment parking lot. No one had suggested going back to Charlie's place. The apartment she'd shared with Dominic for 8 months. The apartment where his things still filled half the closet. She couldn't go back there, not tonight, maybe not ever. Mason's apartment was spare, functional. A 31-year-old bachelor who worked 80-hour weeks didn't need much furniture. But it was safe. It was hers for as long as she needed. Grace made tea. Trish ordered Thai food from the place down the street. Mason opened his laptop. I'm going to ask you some questions. They're going to be invasive and uncomfortable, but I need to know what we're dealing with. Charlie nodded, numb. When did Dominic propose? February 14th, Valentine's Day. When did you tell him about the pregnancy? February 10th. Mason's fingers flew across the keyboard. Typing, searching, his face went hard. He contacted a family law firm on February 11th. The tea burned Charlie's throat, or maybe that was just everything else burning inside her. What? Wilson and Associates, one of the most aggressive family law firms in the city. They specialize in prenups and high-conflict divorces. He contacted them the day after you told him you were pregnant. The room tilted again. Charlie gripped the edge of the couch. How do you know that? I have a friend who works there. She can't give me details because of client confidentiality, but she confirmed he's been a client since February. Mason turned the laptop screen toward Charlie. I also pulled public records. In March, Dominic transferred 2 properties into his father's name. In April, he created a new LLC in Delaware. Vanessa Hartley is listed as co-owner. Grace set down her teacup hard enough to rattle. He's been planning this for 4 months. Longer. Mason clicked through more screens. I found the prenup Andrea signed when they married. Dominic's first wife. It's almost identical to the one he tried to make you sign tonight. Same clauses, same firm, same everything. Andrea. Charlie tested the name. The ex-wife she'd never been allowed to discuss. Tell me about her. I only know what's public record. They married 6 years ago, divorced 5 years ago, 1 child. Dominic pays minimal child support because Andrea signed away her rights to his assets in the prenup. He has a daughter named Lily, 4 years old. Charlie's hand moved to her own belly. He's done this before, got someone pregnant, married them, made them sign away their rights, then left them with nothing. That's the pattern. Mason's face was grim. And based on the timeline, he proposed to you specifically to control the narrative. Pregnant before marriage looks messy. Married while pregnant looks noble. And a prenup signed under pressure while pregnant and planning a wedding is much easier to enforce than trying to prove paternity and argue support later. The Thai food arrived. No one was hungry, but Grace insisted they eat. You're feeding my granddaughter. You need protein. Charlie picked at pad thai, each bite mechanical, tasteless. Her phone had been buzzing for an hour. She'd turned it face down, but she could still see the screen lighting up. Finally, she flipped it over. 53 missed calls, 87 texts, most from numbers she didn't recognize, but some from people she did. Dominic's sister, Bethany. Call me, please. I need to talk to you. Her college roommate, Melissa. Just heard from Trish. I'm so sorry, whatever you need. 3 from unknown numbers saying variations of the same thing. You stupid bitch and gold digger whore, and you'll regret this. And 1 from Dominic. You have 24 hours to reconsider. After that, I go public with my version of events. Your choice, though. Charlie showed the phone to Mason. He's threatening you. He's establishing control. Grace's voice was steady, resigned, like she'd seen this before. Because she had. Charlie's father had done something similar when he left. Rewritten history to make himself the victim. Can I see those messages from the unknown numbers? Mason held out his hand. Charlie passed the phone over. Mason screenshot everything, forwarded the images to himself. What are you doing? Building a case. If this gets ugly, and it will, we need documentation of everything. He looked at Charlie. I need you to screenshot every text, every call, every interaction with Dominic from now on. Don't delete anything. Don't respond in anger. Every communication goes through me first. I'm not suing him. Not yet, but you're going to need child support. You're going to need custody arrangements. And men like Dominic don't just let go. They punish. So we need to be ready. Trish finally spoke up from where she'd been sitting silently. I have something. I don't know if it matters. Everyone turned. When I was planning the wedding, I noticed things, small things. Dominic was never available for meetings. He'd send Vanessa instead. At first I thought he was just busy, but then I realized Vanessa knew details she shouldn't have known. Personal details about you, Charlie. Things only Dominic would know. Like what? Like the fact that you hate peonies because they remind you of your grandmother's funeral. Like the fact that you wanted a small wedding, but Dominic pushed for the big venue. Like the fact that you cried when you found out you were having a girl because you'd always wanted a daughter. Trisha's voice cracked. She knew things I never told her, things you never told her, which means Dominic was telling her. Charlie tried to remember telling Dominic about the peonies, about wanting a daughter. Those were intimate moments, vulnerable moments, and he'd shared them with Vanessa. How long do you think they've been together, Dunn? The question hurt to ask. Based on what I saw, 4 months minimum, maybe longer. Trish looked miserable. I'm so sorry. I should have said something sooner. What would you have said? That you had a feeling? That his assistant knew too much? I would have told you that you were being paranoid. Charlie leaned back against the couch. I'm the one who should have seen it. I'm the one who ignored every red flag because I wanted so badly for this to be real. Grace moved Charlie's hair back from her face. A gesture from childhood. Comforting. Grounding. This isn't your fault, baby girl. Men like Dominic are good at deception. It's not a character flaw in you to trust someone you loved. But it felt like a character flaw. It felt like stupidity. Charlie's phone buzzed again. A new message in a group text. The wedding party group chat. From a number she didn't recognize. FYI, the bride is a gold-digging psycho who tried to extort Dominic. Wedding canceled because she wouldn't sign a reasonable prenup. Dodged a bullet. Another number. Wow, I always thought she seemed calculating. Another. Poor Dominic. Hope he gets a paternity test. The messages kept coming. Fast, vicious. Charlie watched her wedding party, people she'd chosen, people she'd loved, turn on her in real time. Only 2 people defended her. Melissa. This is bullshit, and you all know it. Whatever happened, it's not our business. Stop being cruel. And Bethany Pierce. Everyone needs to stop. You don't know the full story. Trust me. Charlie screenshot that too, sent it to Mason. He's already controlling the narrative. Her voice came out flat. Dead. He said he would, and he is. Then we tell your story. Mason's jaw set. First thing tomorrow, I'm calling Harrison Cole. He's the best family lawyer I know. He specializes in cases like this. I can't afford the best family lawyer you know. You can't afford not to have him. Grace squeezed Charlie's hand. We'll figure out the money. Your father's life insurance. My retirement account if we need it. This is your future, sweetheart. Your baby's future. Charlie looked at the 3 people in this small apartment. Her mother who'd raised her alone after divorce. Her brother who'd put himself through law school while working full-time. Her best friend who'd just been fired from a job she loved because she'd stood up for what was right. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I brought this into all of your lives. Stop. Trish moved to sit beside her. You didn't bring this. Dominic did. You're not responsible for his cruelty. But Charlie had chosen him, had fallen in love with him, had believed him when he said he wanted forever. She stood up, wobbled slightly. The baby had dropped lower this week, making everything uncomfortable. I need to sleep, or try to. My brain won't stop. Grace stood too. I'm staying with you tonight. Don't argue. Charlie didn't have the energy to argue. Mason's spare bedroom was barely big enough for the double bed, but the sheets were clean and the window faced east, away from the city lights. Grace helped Charlie out of the emerald dress, hung it carefully even though Charlie wanted to burn it, found an old t-shirt in Mason's drawer, extra large, perfect for pregnant and heartbroken. Charlie lay down. Grace lay beside her, like when Charlie was small and afraid of thunderstorms. Mom? How did you do it? After Dad left, how did you survive? Grace was quiet for a long time. I survived because I had you and Mason, because staying alive was the only option, because women have been doing this for thousands of years, picking up the pieces after men break everything. Does it get easier? It gets different. The pain becomes part of you instead of all of you. And someday you'll realize you have gone a whole day without thinking about him. Then a whole week. Then you'll meet someone who makes you understand what love was supposed to feel like all along. I don't want to meet anyone else. I don't want to love anyone else. You won't feel that way forever. But tonight, in the dark, Charlie couldn't imagine feeling any other way. She put her hand on her belly. The baby was quiet now, sleeping. I'm sorry, Charlie whispered. To her daughter, to herself. I'm sorry I chose him. I'm sorry I believed him. I'm sorry you're going to grow up with a father who throws contracts at women like weapons. The baby shifted, stretched. One tiny foot pressed against Charlie's palm through skin and muscle. Still there, still okay, still fighting. Charlie closed her eyes and counted, the way her therapist had taught her in college. the way her grandmother had taught her mother. Counting as meditation, as survival. 1. She would wake up tomorrow. 2. She would call a lawyer. 3. She would figure out how to pay rent. 4. She would find a way to protect her daughter. 5. She would survive this. 6. She would do more than survive. 7. She would... Sleep took her before she reached 8. Charlie woke to the smell of coffee and the sound of male voices. Mason's apartment. Right, not a dream. The bedroom door was cracked open. Through it, she heard Mason and someone else. She needs to see this before we meet with Cole. I know, but God, it's going to destroy her. Charlie sat up. Pregnancy made everything harder. Getting out of bed required strategic planning. She stood slowly, hand on her lower back where the ache had become constant. Grace wasn't in the room. Charlie found her in the kitchen, making eggs. How'd you sleep? Like the dead. Charlie accepted the cup Grace handed her. Decaf. Bitter and disappointing. Like everything else lately. In the living room, Mason sat with another man. Older, 50-something, gray hair, expensive suit but not showy. The kind of lawyer who didn't need to prove anything. Charlie, this is Harrison Cole. The lawyer stood, extended his hand. Ms. Reed, I'm sorry we're meeting under these circumstances. Everyone's sorry, no one's surprised. Charlie sat in the armchair. Realized she was still wearing Mason's extra-large t-shirt and no pants. Couldn't bring herself to care. Mason said you specialize in cases like this. I specialize in protecting people from partners who weaponize wealth and manipulation. Harrison's voice was direct, kind, but not soft. Your brother gave me the basics. I've spent the morning reviewing public records. What I found concerns me. He opened a folder on the coffee table. Dominic contacted Wilson and Associates on February 11th, the same day he increased his personal liability insurance by $5 million. In March, he transferred properties to his father. In April, he created an LLC with Vanessa Hartley. In May, he contacted 3 different prenup attorneys before settling on the firm that drafted the document he presented to you. Each fact hit like a physical blow. He's been planning this since February 11th, the day after you told him about the pregnancy. Harrison pulled out more documents. I also found his previous divorce decree. Andrea Wilson, now Andrea Miller, remarried 3 years ago. 1 child from her marriage to Dominic. Lily Pierce, age 4. Child support is $900 a month. 900? Grace's voice from the kitchen. For a millionaire? The prenup Andrea signed pivoted her claim to his assets. It also included a clause that capped child support at $1,000 monthly regardless of income changes. She signed it while pregnant, 3 weeks before their wedding. The pattern was so clear it hurt to look at. Where is Andrea now? Remarried, living in Portland. Her husband adopted Lily. Dominic sees his daughter approximately once a month, sometimes less. Charlie thought about Lily, 4 years old, barely knowing her father. Soon Charlie's daughter would be born into the same situation. I want to talk to her, Andrea. Harrison hesitated. I can reach out to her attorney. But Ms. Reed, Charlie, you need to understand that most people in Andrea's position don't want to revisit that trauma. She's rebuilt her life. She may not want to help. She should know she's not alone, that he's doing it again, that there's a pattern. Establishing a pattern could help your case, but it also means going public with information Dominic will fight to suppress. Harrison leaned forward. Before we go any further, I need to know what you want from this. Child support? Custody? Protection? I want my daughter to be safe. I want to make sure he can't use money to control me. And I want... Charlie stopped. Tried to find words for the rage building in her chest. I want him to face consequences. For once in his privileged life, I want Dominic Pierce to face consequences. Consequences look different for wealthy men. But we can try. Harrison pulled out a contract. My retainer is $25,000. I know that's... I'll pay it. Grace appeared in the doorway. I have money from when Charlie's father died. Life insurance. I've been saving it for emergencies. This qualifies. Mom, no, that's your retirement. My retirement is watching my granddaughter grow up safe and secure. That requires making sure her father can't hurt either of you. Grace's voice left no room for argument. Besides, your grandmother would have done the same for me. Women taking care of women. That's how we survive. Charlie's eyes burned. She'd cried so much in the past 12 hours that she didn't think she had tears left. Apparently, she was wrong. Harrison nodded. I'll start with a demand letter, establishing paternity, requesting child support, setting boundaries for contact. Then we'll see how he responds. He'll respond badly. Mason poured more decaf coffee. His type always does. Expect threats. Expect him to hire private investigators. Expect him to try to prove Charlie is an unfit mother. On what grounds? Charlie's hand went to her belly, protective. On whatever grounds he can manufacture. That's how this works. Harrison's expression was grim. But we'll be ready. Document everything. Every text, every call, every interaction. If he shows up at your home or workplace, document it. If he sends flowers with an apology, document it. Everything is evidence. Charlie's phone buzzed. She'd turned off notifications, but the screen still lit up. Another text from an unknown number. Hope you and your bastard baby end up homeless where you belong. She showed it to Harrison without comment. Screenshot that. Send it to me and your brother. This constitutes harassment. If it escalates, we can get a restraining order. A restraining order against the father of my child. A restraining order against a man who's orchestrating a campaign to destroy you. There's a difference. Charlie's phone buzzed again, this time from a number she recognized. Bethany Pierce. Can we meet? I have information you need, somewhere private, today. Charlie showed the text to Harrison. Bethany is Dominic's sister, a surgeon. I met her twice. She seemed different from the rest of them. Family members sometimes have crisis of conscience. Harrison considered. If you meet her, do it in a public place. Take someone with you, and record the conversation if Oregon law allows. Oregon is a one-party consent state, Mason's legal knowledge kicking in. Charlie can record without telling Bethany. Then do it. And Charlie, be prepared for this to hurt. Whatever Bethany has to tell you, it's going to be bad. She wouldn't reach out otherwise. They met at a coffee shop in Southeast Portland. Neutral territory, far from Dominic's office downtown, far from the apartment Charlie still hadn't returned to. Trish came as backup, sat at the next table with a book she wasn't reading and ears tuned to every word. Charlie arrived early, ordered herbal tea, found a table in the back corner, started the recording app on her phone. Bethany Pierce walked in at exactly 2 p.m. Tall, elegant, dark hair pulled back, no makeup, scrubs under a coat, like she'd come straight from the hospital. She sat down across from Charlie without ordering anything. Thank you for meeting me. Your brother ruined my life. Why would you want to help? Bethany's laugh was bitter. My brother ruins a lot of lives. I'm trying to stop him from ruining more. She pulled out her phone, opened text messages, turned the screen toward Charlie. Dominic and I text regularly. He tells me things. Brags, really. He doesn't know I've been saving everything. Charlie read the messages. Her hands started shaking halfway through. Dominic to Bethany, February 12th. Charlotte's pregnant. Not ideal, but I can work with it. February 14th. Proposed tonight, she cried. God, pregnant women are so emotional. March 3rd, the prenup is coming together. Same firm that handled Andrew. They know what they're doing. March 18th. Vanessa understands what I need. Charlotte is too clingy, too needy. I can't breathe around her. April 7. Wedding planning is a nightmare. Charlotte wants to be involved in everything, like she's actually going to be my wife long term. April 29th. The prenup protects me if the paternity comes back negative. I'm 90% sure the kid's mine, but you never know with women like her. Charlie's vision blurred. Women like me? He means women who aren't born into wealth. Dominic sees the world in 2 categories. People who deserve things and people who don't. You were never going to be in the first category. Bethany scrolled further. It gets worse. May 15th. Once the kid is born, I'll have leverage for divorce custody if she makes trouble. A single mother with no money can't fight me. May 30th. Vanessa suggested the rehearsal dinner timing. Smart woman, maximum pressure, minimum time to think. Charlotte will sign or I'll humiliate her. Either way, I win. June 2nd. If she signs, I'm protected. If she doesn't sign, I'll destroy her reputation so thoroughly that no judge will give her full custody. Charlie set the phone down carefully. He planned all of it. Every detail, the proposal, the wedding, the timing of the prenup, all of it. My brother is a narcissist. Clinical diagnosis. He was evaluated when he was 19 after our mother left. She left because of him, because of how he treated her. My father spent hundreds of thousands on therapy that Dominic quit after 6 sessions. Bethany's voice was flat, exhausted. He's charming, brilliant, and incapable of genuine emotional connection. Why are you telling me this? Because he did this before to Andrea, got her pregnant, married her, made her sign a prenup, divorced her when their daughter was 6 months old. Andrea had postpartum depression. Dominic used it against her in court, said she was unstable, unfit. She got nothing, not even consistent child support. The coffee shop sounds faded. Charlie heard only her own heartbeat. He has a pattern. He has a method, and it works because no one stops him. His victims are too ashamed or too scared or too financially destroyed to fight back. Bethany leaned forward. But you can fight back. You have time. You're not married yet. You haven't signed anything. You have leverage he didn't expect. What leverage? I have no money, no power, nothing he wants except... Charlie's hand went to her belly. The baby. Exactly, he wants control of your daughter, not because he loves her. He's not capable of love, but because children are assets to men like him. Heirs, tax benefits, proof of virility. He'll fight you for custody, not to be a father, but to win. Then what do I do? Bethany pulled out a business card. Harrison Cole. I already called him, told him I'd be willing to testify if it comes to that. I have years of text messages, years of watching my brother destroy people. I'm done being complicit. Why now? Why me? Because I have a daughter too. She's 8. And every time I see her, I think about Lily, about the childhood she could have had if someone had stopped Dominic, about the childhood your daughter could have if someone stops him now. Bethany stood. I can't undo the past, but I can maybe prevent the future. She left her coffee untouched, walked out. Trish moved to Charlie's table immediately. Did you get all that? Charlie stopped the recording, saved it, backed it up to 3 different places. I got it. What do we do now? Charlie looked at her phone, at the text messages from a man she'd loved, a man who'd never loved her, who'd seen her pregnancy as a problem to manage, her baby as leverage. Now we fight back. Charlie stood outside her apartment at 6 in the morning. Grace beside her, Mason on his phone coordinating something. She'd been gone for 36 hours. Her keys felt foreign in her hand. I can go in first, Mason offered. Make sure he's not there. It's my apartment too. I paid half the rent for 8 months. I'm not hiding. But her hands shook as she unlocked the door. The apartment was empty, too empty. Dominic's things were gone. The Italian espresso machine, the designer coat rack, the abstract art he'd insisted on hanging. Even the towels from the bathroom, the expensive Egyptian cotton ones he'd bought. He'd cleaned out anything that belonged to him and left the rest like abandoned furniture. Charlie walked through rooms that suddenly felt enormous. The bedroom where they'd slept, the kitchen where they'd cooked together, the living room where they'd talked about baby names and argued about paint colors for the nursery. All of it hollow now, echoing. He took the crib. Grace's voice from the nursery. Charlie rushed in, the sage green room she'd painted, the mobile she'd hung, the changing table she'd assembled. The crib was gone, the expensive convertible crib that turned into a toddler bed, the one Dominic had insisted on buying because his daughter deserved the best. That bastard took the crib. Rage unlike anything Charlie had ever felt. He's never going to use it. He took it to hurt me. Mason appeared in the doorway. Add it to the list. Documentation. Everything he does is evidence of character. Charlie took photos. The empty space where the crib had been. The receipts she'd saved. She'd paid for half of it. Proof, her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. Ms. Reed, this is Andrea Miller. Bethany Pierce's lawyer contacted mine. I understand Dominic is doing to you what he did to me. Charlie sat on the floor of the empty nursery. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to drag you into this. You didn't drag me anywhere. I've been waiting 4 years for someone else to come forward, for someone else to see what I saw. Andrea's voice was steady, strong. Can we meet? They met at a park, neutral, safe. Andrea brought her daughter Lily, 4 years old, blonde curls, playing on the swing set while the adults talked on a nearby bench. Andrea was 31, remarried, wore a wedding ring that looked nothing like the massive diamond Dominic favored. Simple, real. Bethany said you're 6 months pregnant. Almost 7 now, girl. I have Lily's old baby clothes, if you want them. Andrea watched her daughter play. She was born in August, summer baby, easiest season for newborns. Your daughter is beautiful. She is, and she doesn't remember Dominic. Her stepdad is the only father she's ever really known. Dominic sees her maybe once a month. Sometimes he cancels, always last minute, always with an excuse about work. Andrea turned to look at Charlie. I'm telling you this so you understand. He's not going to be a father. He's going to be a weapon. Bethany showed me the text messages between her and Dominic. About you. About me. I have my own documentation. 4 years worth. Andrea pulled out a folder from her bag, 3 inches thick. Text messages, emails, financial records, everything. Charlie took the folder. What is all this? Evidence that Dominic has been violating our custody agreement for years. Missing scheduled visits, failing to pay agreed-upon expenses, using Lily as leverage to control me. Andrea's jaw tightened. I signed an NDA when we divorced. Julian Pierce paid me $50,000 to stay quiet about certain things. But NDAs don't cover ongoing criminal activity or fraud. What criminal activity? Dominic has been committing tax fraud, claiming business expenses for personal trips with Vanessa, failing to report income from his overseas accounts, using company funds for personal purposes. I have proof because he was stupid enough to tell me about it when we were married. Thought it made him clever. Charlie's hands trembled. Why are you giving this to me? Because I was alone when I fought him. I had no money, no family support, no one to corroborate my story, and I lost. Not because I was wrong, but because I was powerless. Andrea looked back at Lily. You have something I didn't. Time. You're not married yet. You haven't signed anything, and Bethany is willing to testify. That changes everything. What do you want in return? I want Dominic to face consequences. I want Lily to grow up knowing her mother fought for her. And I want your daughter to have better than what Lily got. Andrea stood. There's a lawyer named Harrison Cole. He specializes in cases like ours. I'll testify if you need me to. Lily ran up. Mommy, can we get ice cream? Sure, baby. Andrea picked her up, kissed her forehead, looked at Charlie. You're going to survive this. I did. You will too. After they left, Charlie sat on the bench and cried. Not sad tears, angry tears, grateful tears. Grace sat beside her. What do you need? I need to cancel a wedding. The venue had been booked for 8 months, the Evergreen Estate, floor-to-ceiling windows, gardens, 250 guests, $12,000 cancellation fee. Charlie called from Mason's car while he drove her to the venue. The wedding coordinator answered on the first ring. Ms. Reed, we're so excited for Saturday. Final head count is 238. The flowers are confirmed. The cake will arrive at 2. Everything is perfect. I need to cancel. Silence. I'm sorry. The wedding is canceled. I need to cancel everything now. Ms. Reed, the contract you signed is very clear. Cancellations within 7 days of the event forfeit the entire deposit plus 50% of remaining balance. I understand. Cancel it anyway. More silence. Can I ask why? Perhaps we can work something out. Postponement instead of cancellation? My fiancé threw a prenup at me in front of his mistress 3 days before the wedding. I'm not postponing. I'm canceling. The coordinator's voice changed, warmer. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. Let me talk to my manager. Maybe we can reduce the fees. I have the money. I don't want to reduce the fees. I want my daughter to know that I walked away from a man who didn't deserve us, and I paid whatever it cost to do it. She hung up. Her entire savings account. Gone. Worth it. Next, the photographer. He answered while shooting another wedding. Charlie could hear music in the background. Hey, Charlie, 3 more days. I need to cancel. What? Why? Long story. Can you refund the deposit? The contract says no refunds within 30 days. I know. Keep the money. But can you do something for me? Sure. Can you do a maternity shoot? Free. I'm 6 months pregnant, and I want photos of just me and my daughter. No father, just us. Yeah, silence, or by yeah, and then, yeah, I can do that. Next week? Perfect. One by one, Charlie called every vendor, the florist, the caterer, the DJ, the hotel room blocks. Each cancellation cost money. Each cancellation hurt. Each cancellation felt like freedom. By noon, there was no wedding, just a lot of very confused vendors and 238 guests who would need to be notified. I'll send a message to everyone on the guest list. Grace pulled out her phone. What do you want it to say? Charlie thought about all the ways she could explain, all the ways she could soften it. Just tell them the truth, wedding canceled. Charlie and Dominic are not getting married. That's all they need to know. Grace typed. Charlie watched her mother's thumbs move across the screen. 300 individual messages, one by one. Done. Grace looked up. Your phone is going to explode. Let it. The messages started immediately. From friends. What happened? Are you okay? Call me. From Dominic's friends. This is insane, Dan. You're ruining his life. From strangers. Saw your wedding cancellation. Just want to say I've been there. You're brave. And from Dominic himself. You're going to regret this. I'll make sure you get nothing. Not a penny, not a roof over your head, nothing. Charlie screenshotted it, sent it to Harrison, Cole, and Mason, then blocked Dominic's number. Her phone buzzed again. Bethany Pierce. My father wants to meet with you, alone, tomorrow. Says it's important. Charlie showed Mason. Julian Pierce, the man who sat there smiling while his son humiliated you. Why would you meet with him? I don't know, but maybe I should find out. Not alone, I'm coming with you. He said alone. Then I'll wait outside, but I'm not letting you walk into a meeting with that family without backup. Charlie looked at her phone, at all the messages, at the chaos Dominic had created, at the possibility that maybe, just maybe, Julian Pierce had something useful to say. Fine, set it up. They met at a coffee shop, different from where Charlie had met Bethany, more upscale, the kind of place where business deals happened. Julian Pierce sat in the back corner, 75 years old, expensive suit, looking smaller than he had at the rehearsal dinner. Charlie sat across from him. Mason waited by the door. Thank you for coming. Julian's voice was rough, tired. What do you want? To apologize and to explain. He pulled an envelope from his coat pocket, set it on the table between them. My son is my greatest failure. His mother left when he was 16, left because of him, because of how cruel he was, how manipulative. I thought it was a phase. I thought therapy would fix him. I thought money and opportunity would make him better. They didn't. They made him worse, gave him tools to hurt people more effectively. Julian pushed the envelope toward Charlie. This is a cashier's check for $250,000. It's not a bribe. It's not hush money. It's child support for the first 5 years. From me, not him. Charlie stared at the envelope, didn't touch it. Why? Because I'm 75 years old and running out of time to do anything right. Because Lily deserved better, because your daughter deserves better. Because I enabled a monster and I don't know how to fix him, but maybe I can help the people he's hurt. Did you know about Andrea, about what he did to her? Julian's face crumpled. I knew. I paid her to go away quietly, paid her lawyer to accept terms that destroyed her, and I've regretted it every day since. Then why did you smile at the rehearsal dinner when he threw the prenup at me? You smiled. Because I'm a coward, because standing up to my son would mean admitting what I created, what I allowed. Julian's hands shook. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking you to take this money, put it in a trust, give your daughter security, and maybe break the cycle I started. Charlie picked up the envelope, felt the weight of it. If I take this, it doesn't mean I forgive you. I don't want forgiveness. I want your daughter to have better than what my son will give her. Charlie stood, envelope in hand. If you really want to help, you'll testify. When this goes to court, you'll tell them everything you just told me. I will. Julian stood too, older than Charlie had realized, bent under the weight of his own choices. I'm sorry, I know it doesn't matter, but I'm sorry. Charlie walked to where Mason waited. Did he really just give you $250,000? Yes. Are you going to take it? Charlie looked at the envelope, at the check inside, at the financial security it represented. Yes, because he's right. My daughter deserves better than what Dominic will give her. And I'm going to make sure she gets it. The article appeared on Sunday morning, posted to a local business blog at 3 a.m. when Charlie was finally sleeping. The headline, Local Tech Mogul Dominic Pierce Escapes Gold Digger's Trap, Mason called it 7. Don't read it. I'm serious, don't. Charlie read it anyway. The article called her manipulative, calculating, a woman who'd gotten pregnant deliberately to trap a wealthy man. When that hadn't worked, when Dominic had reasonably requested a prenup, she'd thrown a tantrum and canceled the wedding. Sources close to Pierce report that Reed has a history of targeting successful men, that she quit her job when she got pregnant, expecting Pierce to support her, that she'd been pressuring him for a ring since their first date. None of it was true. All of it was believable. By noon, it had been shared 800 times. By evening, someone had created a Reddit thread. My pregnant fiancée canceled our wedding over a prenup. Charlie made the mistake of reading the comments. NTA, she's clearly after your money. Women who refuse prenups are always hiding something. Get a paternity test ASAP. Document everything. She sounds unstable. 50,000 views, 5,000 comments, most of them brutal. Trish found 3 separate Facebook posts from people at the rehearsal dinner. Different versions of the same story. Charlie had been unreasonable. Dominic had been patient. The prenup was standard. Charlie was a gold digger who'd finally been exposed. This is coordinated. Trish showed Charlie her laptop. Look at the timing, all posted within an hour of each other, all using similar language. Someone gave them talking points. Dominic, or Vanessa, or Julian, or all of them. Trish scrolled through more posts. They're destroying your reputation systematically. Charlie's business started taking hits. Her graphic design firm was small, just her and 2 contract designers. But it was hers. She'd built it from nothing. 3 clients emailed to cancel contracts. Due to recent circumstances, we've decided to go in a different direction. We need to maintain our company's reputation, and association with you no longer aligns with our values. Effective immediately, we're terminating your services. Then her website got review bombed. 1-star reviews appeared in clusters. Unprofessional, unreliable. Don't work with her, she'll take your money and bail. People who'd never hired her, never met her, destroying her livelihood because Dominic told them to. Charlie called Harrison Cole. What can I do? This is defamation. Proving defamation is difficult. We'd have to prove Dominic orchestrated it, prove damages, prove malicious intent. It's expensive and time-consuming. So he just gets to destroy me? No, you tell your story publicly, honestly, and you force him to respond. How? Social media, your platform, your voice. Beat him at his own game. Charlie had never been good at social media, posted client work occasionally, shared design tips. Nothing personal, but this was personal. This was survival. She opened Instagram, took a photo, no filter, no makeup, 6.5 months pregnant in Mason's borrowed t-shirt, eyes swollen from crying, started typing. 3 days before our wedding, my fiancé threw a prenup at me across a dinner table, in front of his mistress. He'd been planning it for 4 months, since the day I told him I was pregnant. I'm sharing this not for sympathy, but for every woman who's been told she's crazy for noticing the truth. You're not. Trust yourself. The prenup wasn't the betrayal. The betrayal was the man I loved seeing my pregnancy as a problem to manage instead of a life to celebrate. So I canceled the wedding, lost my savings, and I'd do it again. Because my daughter is watching, and I want her to know that her mother stood up. Charlie's finger hovered over the post button. Once she pressed it, there was no going back. She pressed it, turned off her phone, waited for the world to end. Instead, the world split open. Charlie turned her phone back on 12 hours later. 14,000 new followers, 2,847 comments, 892 shares. Most of the comments were supportive. This happened to me. Thank you for speaking up. You're so brave. Men like this need to be exposed. My ex did something similar. It took me years to recover. But some were vicious. Attention-seeking whore. You're just mad you got caught gold digging. Hope CPS takes your baby. You'll regret this when you're homeless. Charlie screenshot the threats, sent them to Harrison and Mason. Documentation. Then she saw a message that changed everything. From Andrea Miller. I'm ready to go public, together. They scheduled a press conference. Harrison coordinated it. Found a lawyer who specialized in media relations. They met at Andrea's house in Portland to prepare. Andrea's husband stayed home with Lily. Andrea brought coffee and a folder 3 inches thick. This is everything. 4 years of documentation. Text messages, financial records. Proof that Dominic has been lying about his income to reduce child support. Proof that he's been using company funds for personal expenses. Proof that he told me he'd destroy me if I ever spoke out. Are you sure you want to do this? Charlie looked at Andrea, at this woman who'd survived what Charlie was currently living through. Once we go public, he'll come after you too. He already came after me. He already destroyed me once. But I rebuilt my life, and now I'm in a position where he can't touch me. My husband has money. I have a good job. I have security. So yes, I'm sure. They spent 6 hours preparing statements, practicing answers to questions, anticipating Dominic's response. He'll say your bitter ex is conspiring against him. The media lawyer was blunt. He'll say you're lying. He'll attack your credibility. Let him. Andrea's voice was steel. I have receipts, literal receipts. The press conference was scheduled for Thursday afternoon, 3 days away. Time for Dominic to panic. Charlie's phone rang. Unknown number. She answered without thinking. You stupid bitch. Dominic's voice, using a burner phone, shaking with rage. Andrea called me, told me what you're planning. You have no idea what you're doing. Charlie put the phone on speaker, gestured to Mason to start recording. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm telling the truth. The truth is you're a gold digger who tried to trap me with a pregnancy. The truth is you're unstable. The truth is you're going to be a terrible mother and I'm going to prove it in court. Are you threatening me? I'm promising you, you go public with Andrea, I'll bury you. I'll take custody of our daughter. I'll make sure you never see her. You'll what, Dominic? Throw another contract at me? Send more people to leave death threats in my Instagram? Review bomb my business? You've already done all that. I have resources you can't imagine. Lawyers, money, power. You think some sob story on social media changes that? I think the IRS will be very interested in Andrea's documentation of your tax fraud. Silence. You have no proof of anything. Andrea has 4 years of proof. Bethany has text messages. Your father has guilt. And I have nothing left to lose. So yeah, I think we'll be fine. Dominic hung up. Mason stopped recording. He just threatened to take custody. That's evidence of parental alienation. Charlie's hands shook. The baby kicked. Hard, angry, like she could hear her father's voice and didn't like it. He's gonna make this ugly. It's already ugly. Now we're just fighting back. The night before the press conference, Charlie couldn't sleep. 7 months pregnant made sleeping difficult anyway. Add stress and fear and rage, and rest was impossible. She sat in Mason's apartment at 2 in the morning, eating ice cream straight from the container, not because she was pregnant, because her mother had done this after her father left. Her grandmother had done this during the Depression. A long line of women eating ice cream alone in kitchens, trying to sweeten the bitter. Grace found her there. Can't sleep, can't stop thinking. About? About how I got here, about all the signs I missed, about how stupid I was. Grace sat down, took the ice cream, ate a spoonful. You weren't stupid. You were in love. There's a difference. I should have known. When he couldn't tell me about Andrea, when he was always too busy for wedding planning, when Vanessa was always there, I should have known. Knowing and accepting are different things. You knew something was wrong, but you wanted it to be right. That's human, not stupid. The baby shifted, stretched. One tiny foot pressed against Charlie's rib cage. What if I mess this up? What if I'm a terrible mother? You won't be. How do you know? Because you're already protecting her. Before she's even born, you are fighting for her. That's what mothers do. Grace squeezed Charlie's hand. Your father left when you were three. You don't remember, but I was where you are now, pregnant with Mason. No money, no plan, terrified. You never told me you were pregnant when he left. I never told you a lot of things. I wanted you to have a childhood that wasn't defined by his choices. Grace looked at her hands. Old now, lined. But I survived. You survived. And your daughter will survive. Because women have been doing this for thousands of years. Picking up pieces, building new lives, protecting our children from men who don't deserve them. Charlie leaned against her mother. I'm scared. Good. Fear means you care. Fear means you'll be careful. Fear means you'll fight. Grace kissed the top of Charlie's head. Tomorrow you tell your story, and then you let whatever happens, happen, because you've already won. How? You walked away. That's winning. The press conference happened in a small room at a local community center. 15 reporters, 3 cameras, Andrea and Charlie at a table in front, Harrison standing behind them. Charlie's prepared statement was 3 paragraphs. She'd practiced it 20 times. Her hands still shook when she read it. My name is Charlotte Reed. I'm 7 months pregnant. 3 weeks ago, my fiancé Dominic Pierce threw a prenup at me at our rehearsal dinner, in front of his mistress. 3 days before our wedding, I canceled the wedding, not because of the prenup itself, but because of what it represented. A pattern of control and manipulation that I refused to accept. I'm here today with Andrea Miller, Dominic's ex-wife. We're here because this isn't about one bad relationship. This is about a pattern of predatory behavior, and it needs to stop. Andrea read her statement, detailed the financial abuse, the custody manipulation, the lies about income. Then they took questions. Why come forward now? Because staying silent protects him and endangers the next woman. Andrea's voice didn't waver. Do you have proof? Harrison stepped forward, handed out folders, tax documents, text messages, financial records. Everything is documented. What do you want from Dominic Pierce? Charlie answered. I want him to be held accountable. I want my daughter to be safe. And I want other women to know they're not alone. The questions went on for 40 minutes, some sympathetic, some skeptical, all recorded. That night, the story ran on 3 local news stations. By morning, it was trending on social media. By afternoon, the IRS had opened an investigation. By evening, Dominic's company board had placed him on administrative leave pending internal investigation. Within 24 hours, the man who tried to destroy Charlie was watching his empire crack. Vanessa Hartley was arrested on a Wednesday morning at 9:15. Charlie found out through a Google alert she'd set up for Dominic's name. The headline, Pierce Ventures Executive Assistant Arrested for Embezzlement. The article was brief. Vanessa Hartley, 26, arrested for embezzling funds from Pierce Ventures. Estimated loss, $600,000. Investigation ongoing. Charlie called Harrison immediately. Did you see? I saw. Interesting timing. What does this mean for us? It means Dominic's company is under federal investigation now. It means Vanessa might cooperate to reduce her sentence. It means everything Andrea documented is being taken very seriously. Is this good for us? It's not bad. Federal prosecutors are thorough. If they're investigating embezzlement, they're looking at everything. Tax records, financial statements, business expenses. If Dominic was involved or complicit, they'll find it. Charlie hung up and immediately Googled Vanessa's arrest, found 3 articles, all saying basically the same thing. Vanessa had systematically stolen money, used company credit cards for personal expenses, created false invoices. What none of the articles mentioned: how many of those personal expenses had been for Dominic? How many of those false invoices had funded his lifestyle? Bethany called an hour later. Did you hear about Vanessa? Just saw. It gets better. Dominic's freaking out. Called me at midnight ranting about being betrayed. Apparently Vanessa kept records, receipts, communications, all the things that implicate him. Why would she do that? Insurance. Smart women in affairs with narcissist base always keep insurance. She knew eventually he'd throw her away. She was ready. Charlie thought about Vanessa at the rehearsal dinner, hand on Dominic's shoulder, smirking, so confident, maybe not confident, maybe terrified, maybe armoring herself. Will she testify? If it means a lighter sentence, absolutely. Bethany paused. How are you doing? Tired, pregnant, angry, surviving. That's more than most people could do. After they hung up, Charlie sat with the news. Vanessa was 26, young, stupid enough to fall for Dominic's charm, smart enough to document everything. Was she a victim too, or was she complicit? Charlie didn't know, wasn't sure it mattered. What mattered was Dominic's world was collapsing. Dr. Weinstein called Charlie in for an emergency appointment. Your blood pressure is elevated, not dangerously high, but higher than I'd like at 7 months. Charlie sat on the exam table in a paper gown. I'm stressed. I know, and stress is understandable given everything. But you need to protect yourself. Protect the baby. I'm trying. Try harder. Dr. Weinstein's voice was kind but firm. I'm not just talking about blood pressure. I'm talking about emotional well-being. You've been through massive trauma. You're fighting legal battles, planning single parenthood, all while growing a human. Something has to give. What am I supposed to give? Fighting for my daughter? Protecting myself from Dominic? Making sure I can pay rent? I'm not saying give up. I'm saying find balance. Find support. Find moments of peace. Weinstein pulled up Charlie's chart. Your baby is healthy, growing well. But I need you healthy too. So I'm prescribing something. Medication? Honesty, radical honesty, with yourself about what you need, with others about what you're experiencing. Stop pretending you're fine. Stop soldiering through. Tell your truth, not for Dominic, for you. And Charlie left the appointment with orders to rest, to drink water, to take walks, to breathe. Also with something else, permission, to be human, to be tired, to be scared, to be something other than a fighter. That night, Charlie wrote in the journal her therapist had recommended years ago. She hadn't written in it since before meeting Dominic. Dear daughter, you're not born yet. Won't be for 2 more months. But I'm already failing you. Your father is a man I thought I loved, a man who saw me as a problem. Your existence as leverage. I should have seen it sooner, should have been smarter, should have protected us both better. But I didn't. And now we're here. Me sitting in a borrowed apartment. You swimming in amniotic fluid. Both of us afraid of what comes next. I don't know how to be a single mother. Don't know how to co-parent with the man who hates me. Don't know how to give you the life you deserve. But I'm going to try. God, I'm going to try. I canceled the wedding. Spent my savings. Burned bridges. All for you. All because you deserve better than a mother who settles. I hope that's enough. Love, your mom, still figuring out what that means. Charlie spent the weekend doing nothing. Grace insisted. You've been in crisis mode for 3 weeks. You need rest. So Charlie rested, watched movies, read books, ate food that wasn't optimized for nutrition. Just tasted good. Mason brought Thai food. Trish brought chocolate. Grace brought her mother's old recipe books, and they made cookies at 2 in the morning because pregnancy and insomnia made time meaningless. For 48 hours, Charlie didn't think about Dominic, didn't check legal documents, didn't read news articles, just existed, pregnant, safe, surrounded by people who loved her. Monday morning, reality returned. Harrison called. We need to meet, in person, today if possible. They met at his office, a small firm, tasteful, professional. Harrison had news. Dominic's company is offering you a settlement. Charlie's stomach dropped. What kind of settlement? $500,000, lump sum, in exchange for your silence, non-disclosure agreement, no further legal action. $500,000, financial security, no more fighting. What about child support? Separate agreement, $3,000 a month until your daughter turns 18, plus medical expenses. That's less than the judge would order. Probably, but it's guaranteed, immediate, no court battle. Charlie thought about it, about what she could do with $500,000. Buy a house, start a college fund, never worry about rent again. What does it about? Your voice. You can't talk about what happened, can't give interviews, can't post on social media about Dominic or the relationship. Complete silence. So he gets to control me even after we're done? That's one way to look at it. What's the other way? You take his money, build your life, and never think about him again. Let him fade into irrelevance. Charlie looked at Harrison, at this lawyer who'd seen dozens of cases like hers. What would you do if it was your daughter? Harrison smiled, sad, knowing. I'd tell her to think about what she wants her daughter to know, that she stayed silent for money or that she spoke up for what was right. Even if speaking up costs everything, especially then, because silence costs more than money. It costs your soul. Charlie stood, walked to the window, looked out at the city where she'd built her life, where she'd met Dominic, where she'd loved him and been betrayed by him, where she'd survived. Tell them no, no settlement, no silence. We go to court. Are you sure? I'm sure, M. The rejection of Dominic's settlement offer made headlines, small headlines, local news, but headlines nonetheless. Charlotte Reed rejects settlement, vows to fight Pierce in court. The article quoted her lawyer. Charlie stayed silent. Let her actions speak. But privately, she was terrified. What if she lost? What if the judge sided with Dominic? What if she ended up with nothing but legal debt and a daughter to raise? Trish found her that night, sitting in the dark, staring at nothing. Talk to me. What if I'm making a mistake? What if you're not? I could have taken the money, given my daughter security. Instead, I'm gambling everything on the hope that the legal system will side with a pregnant woman over a rich man. You're not gambling. You're fighting. There's a difference. What if fighting isn't enough? Trish sat beside her. Then you'll have fought, and your daughter will know that her mother was brave, even when it was hard, especially when it was hard. Now, I don't feel brave. I feel terrified. Bravery isn't the absence of fear. It's doing the right thing despite the fear. Charlie leaned against her friend. When did you get so wise? When I watched my best friend walk away from a millionaire who treated her like garbage. You taught me, I'm just repeating the lesson. The smear campaign intensified after Charlie rejected the settlement. Someone leaked her address. Not Mason's apartment, her old place, but the one she'd eventually have to return to because she couldn't live with her brother forever. Packages started arriving. Dead flowers, bags of trash, notes saying whore and baby killer, and worse. Charlie called the police, filed reports. Nothing they could do unless she had proof of who was sending them. Her business lost 2 more clients. Her website got hacked. Nothing stolen, just replaced with a message. Charlotte Reed is a liar and a con artist. It took 4 days to fix it. 4 days of her portfolio offline. 4 days of potential clients seeing that message instead of her work. The hate messages on social media multiplied. Rape threats, death threats, promises to find her and make her pay. Charlie stopped reading them, but she couldn't stop knowing they existed. Dr. Weinstein put her on modified bed rest. Your blood pressure is too high. You need to reduce stress, or we're looking at preeclampsia. How am I supposed to reduce stress when my life is falling apart? You tell me, what do you need? What Charlie needed was for this to be over, for Dominic to disappear, for her daughter to be born into a world that wasn't hostile. What she needed was impossible. So instead, she did what she could. Stop checking social media, block numbers, let Mason handle legal communications, let Grace handle logistics. Surrendered control because holding on was killing her. 2 a.m. Charlie couldn't sleep. Again. 8 months pregnant now. The baby had dropped. Labor could happen any time in the next 4 weeks. She sat in the bathroom, the only place she could be alone, crying silently so she wouldn't wake Grace, who was sleeping on Mason's couch. Her phone buzzed. She'd forgotten to turn it off. Text from unknown number. You should have blamed the settlement. Now you'll get nothing. Enjoy being homeless with a bastard baby. Charlie stared at the message, at the cruelty, at the assumption that money was all she cared about. She typed back, knowing she shouldn't engage, doing it anyway. Money can't buy back my self-respect, but thanks for your concern. Blocked the number, stood up, looked at herself in the bathroom mirror. 8 months pregnant, no makeup, hair unwashed, wearing a t-shirt with a coffee stain. She looked destroyed. She looked like a woman who'd survived. Charlie opened her phone, opened Instagram, took a photo, no filter, no caption, just her face, swollen, tired, real, posted it. Comments flooded in within minutes. You're so brave. This is what survival looks like. Keep fighting. You're going to be an amazing mother, but also, you look like hell. No wonder he left you. That baby deserves better than you. Charlie read them all, the good and the bad, let them wash over her. Then she did something she'd never done before. She recorded a video, just her face, talking. It's 2 a.m. I'm 8 months pregnant. I can't sleep because my daughter keeps kicking my ribs and because men on the internet keep telling me I should die. I rejected a settlement today. $500,000. My lawyer thought I was crazy. Maybe I am, but I can't take money in exchange for silence. I can't teach my daughter that it's okay to be quiet about abuse if the price is right. So I'm broke and scared and alone, and I'd make the same choice again. Because the alternative is living with the fact that I valued money more than truth. And I can't do that. If you're in a similar situation, if someone is trying to buy your silence or control you with money, I see you, I believe you, and you're not alone. She posted it, turned off her phone, went back to bed. In the morning, the video had 200,000 views. The call came from Bethany 3 days later. My father is in the hospital, heart attack. He wants to see you. Charlie hadn't expected that. Why? I don't know, but he specifically asked for you, said it's important. Mason drove her to the hospital, St. Vincent's, private room, expensive even by private hospital standards. Julian Pierce looked small in the hospital bed, tubes and monitors, pale, old. Bethany waited outside, Mason too. Charlie walked in alone. Thank you for coming. Julian's voice was weak. What do you want? To tell you something. Before I die, which might be soon, might be today, might be next week. Tell me what? Dominic isn't my biological son. Charlie sat down, hard. What? His mother had an affair. I knew. I stayed anyway, raised him as mine. But he's not mine, not genetically. Julian coughed. The monitors beeped. I enabled him because I felt guilty, thought if I gave him enough, money, opportunities, forgiveness, he'd turn out okay. Instead, I created a monster. Why are you telling me this? Because when I die, he'll inherit everything. My estate, my properties, my businesses, and he'll use that money to hurt you, to hurt his children, to hurt everyone. Julian reached for a folder on the bedside table, hands shaking. Unless you stop him. How? I changed my will 3 days ago before the heart attack. Everything goes to a trust managed by Bethany. For Lily and your daughter, Dominic gets nothing. Charlie took the folder, read the documents inside. A trust, $10 million, split evenly between Julian's 2 granddaughters. Dominic explicitly excluded. If Dominic finds out you did this, he'll contest it. Let him contest it. The will is ironclad. My lawyers made sure. Julian's eyes closed. I'm dying, and I have to live with what I created, what I enabled. But maybe I can protect the next generation. Maybe that's enough. It's not enough. It doesn't undo what he did to Andrea or what he's trying to do to me. I know, but it's all I have left. Charlie stood. If you really want to make amends, testify. When this goes to court, tell them what you told me about enabling him, about knowing he was dangerous and doing nothing. I will, if I'm alive, I promise. Charlie left the folder. Keep your money, I don't want it. It's not for you, it's for your daughter. For Lily, they deserve better than what their father will give them. Charlie walked out, found Bethany and Mason waiting. What did he say? A lot. None of it changes anything. But that wasn't true. It changed everything. Julian Pierce, enabler and coward, was trying to fix his mistakes before death. It wouldn't work. You couldn't buy redemption, but maybe you could buy protection for the next generation. Labor started on a Tuesday, 3 weeks before the court date. Charlie's water broke at 4 a.m. Mason drove her to the hospital. Grace met them there. Trish arrived an hour later. 16 hours of labor. No epidural because Charlie was allergic to the medication. Just pain and breathing and counting. Counting, always counting. 1, contraction. 2, contraction. 3, wishing, contraction. 4, push, push. 6, push. 7, she's here. Margot Reed, born at 8:27 p.m. 7 pounds, 6 ounces. Perfect. Charlie held her daughter and cried. Not sad tears, not even happy tears, just tears of relief, of love, of terror. Hi, baby girl, I'm your mom. I'm gonna mess this up sometimes, but I promise I'll never stop fighting for you. Margot opened her eyes. Blue, like all babies, looked at Charlie like she understood. Grace took photos. Mason held Margot while Charlie got stitched up. Trish called everyone who needed to know. No one called Dominic. He'd receive official notification of the birth through his lawyer, as required by law, but he wouldn't be there, wouldn't hold his daughter, wouldn't even know her name until the paperwork was filed. Charlie felt relief more than sadness. Her daughter's first moments in the world were peaceful, safe, surrounded by love. That was enough. Dominic showed up at the hospital 2 days later. Charlie was nursing Margot when the nurse came in. There's a man here, says he's the father. Do you want me to send him in? No, tell him that visiting hours are over. He says he has a right. Tell him to talk to my lawyer. The nurse left, came back 5 minutes later. He's threatening legal action. Says you're denying him access to his daughter. Charlie looked at Margot, 2 days old, nursing contentedly, unaware of the fight happening outside. Fine, 5 minutes. I want witnesses in the room, you and another nurse. The nurse nodded, left, returned with Dominic and a security guard. Dominic looked terrible, unwashed, unshaved, desperate. Charlotte, God, I'm sorry for everything. Please, let me see her. Charlie didn't move Margot from her chest, didn't stop nursing. You have 3 minutes. I know I messed up. I know I was cruel, but she's my daughter too. I want to be part of her life. You threw a prenup at me in front of your mistress 3 days before our wedding. You orchestrated a smear campaign that destroyed my business. You sent people to leave death threats at my door. And now you want to be part of her life? I was scared. I panicked. You were calculated. Every move was planned. Andrea told me about her experience. Bethany showed me your text messages. Your father confirmed what you are. So no, you don't get to be scared. You don't get to panic. You get to live with the consequences of your choices. Please, just let me hold her. No. Charlotte, her name is Margot, and you'll meet her eventually, through supervised visits, after the custody hearing. But not today. Not while I'm vulnerable and exhausted. Not while you're still trying to manipulate me. Dominic looked at Margot, really looked at her for the first time. She looks like you. Yeah, she does. Lucky her. Security escorted Dominic out. Charlie continued nursing, hands shaking but voice steady. The nurse touched Charlie's shoulder. You did good, Mama. That took strength. Charlie kissed Margot's forehead. We're okay, baby. I promise. We're okay. The court hearing happened 6 weeks after Margot was born. Charlie wore a navy dress, professional, conservative. Her post-pregnancy body not quite back to normal. Didn't matter, she was a mother now. Her body had grown a human, made food for a human. Her body was magnificent regardless of how it looked in a dress. Harrison met her outside the courthouse. Mason and Grace were there for support. Andrea had flown in from Portland. Bethany arrived separately, not wanting to seem like she was choosing sides, even though everyone knew she was. Dominic wore a suit that cost more than Charlie's car, looked polished, composed, like this was just another business meeting. Vanessa was notably absent, still facing embezzlement charges, awaiting trial. The courtroom was smaller than Charlie expected, Judge Morrison presiding, a woman in her 60s, kind eyes, stern mouth. Dominic's lawyer spoke first, painted Charlie as vindictive, unstable, someone who'd used pregnancy to trap a successful man and then punished him when he protected his assets. Mr. Pierce simply asked for a prenup, a standard agreement. Ms. Reed refused out of greed and then mounted a public campaign to destroy his reputation and business. Harrison stood, methodical, calm. Your Honor, I'd like to enter Exhibits A through M into evidence. The exhibits included timeline showing Dominic contacted a family lawyer the day after learning of pregnancy, text messages between Dominic and Bethany showing premeditation, Andrea's testimony about identical pattern of behavior, financial records showing Dominic transferred assets to avoid claims, messages from Dominic threatening Charlie, documentation of the smear campaign, proof of harassment including packages sent to Charlie's home, screenshots of death threats from accounts linked to Dominic's associates, psychological evaluation of Dominic from his own therapist, confirming narcissistic personality disorder diagnosis, Vanessa's cooperation agreement with federal prosecutors implicating Dominic in embezzlement scheme. Harrison spoke for 20 minutes, laid out the pattern, the manipulation, the calculated cruelty. Then Andrea testified. 12 minutes, every word devastating. Dominic Pierce is incapable of love. He's capable of possession, of control, of using people. I was 19 when we met, 22 when we married, 23 when we divorced with a 6-month-old baby and nothing else. He took everything and called it protecting himself. Bethany testified, 5 minutes. I love my brother, but love doesn't mean enabling abuse. I'm here because someone needs to stop the pattern. My father enabled it by cleaning up Dominic's messes. I enabled it by staying silent. No more. Then Charlie testified. I loved Dominic. I thought he loved me. I thought the pregnancy would bring us closer. Instead, it triggered a carefully orchestrated plan to control me. The prenup wasn't about protection. It was about power, about making sure I knew my place, about punishing me for getting pregnant. She detailed the rehearsal dinner, the 10-minute ultimatum, Vanessa's presence, the humiliation. I canceled the wedding because I realized I'd rather be a single mother than teach my daughter that this kind of treatment is acceptable from men who claim to love you. Judge Morrison listened to everything, reviewed documents, asked questions. At the end of the hearing, she looked at Dominic. Mr. Pierce, I've been on this bench for 23 years. I've seen a lot of men like you, charming in public, cruel in private, using wealth as weapon, using children as pawns. It stops today. She ruled. 1. Child support, $7,500 per month until Margot turns 18. 2. All medical expenses paid by Dominic. Trust fund established. $500,000 for Margot's education. Supervised visitation only until Dominic completes mandatory therapy minimum 1 year. No therapy progress means no visitation increase. 6. Restraining order, preventing Dominic from contacting Charlie, except through attorneys regarding Margot. No custody dispute allowed until Margot is 5 years old and can participate in evaluation. 8. If Dominic violates any terms, he forfeits visitation rights entirely. Ms. Reed, you and your daughter are protected by this court. Mr. Pierce, you are a cautionary tale, a man who had everything and squandered it on cruelty. Get help, do better. Because right now, you're not fit to be alone with a goldfish, much less a child. She banged her gavel. Dismissed. Outside the courthouse, reporters waited. Charlie made a brief statement. Justice looks different for everyone. Today, justice looks like protection for my daughter. Thank you to everyone who supported us, to the women who came forward, to my family who never wavered, and to every woman who's been where I was. You're not alone. You're not crazy, and you deserve better. She didn't take questions, just walked to Mason's car. Margot in Grace's arms, safe, protected. They drove to Mason's apartment, ordered pizza. Celebrated quietly, Charlie held Margot, 2 months old now, growing so fast. We did it, baby girl, we survived. Margot cooed, grabbed Charlie's finger. No, we did more than survive. We won. Charlie's new office had windows, real windows, floor to ceiling, natural light streaming across her desk where Margot played in a nearby playpen. 10 months old, crawling everywhere. Perfect. Her design firm had moved 6 months ago from her apartment to this, a real office with 2 employees and a waiting list of clients. Turns out surviving publicly made you relatable. 3 Fortune 500 companies had hired her after seeing her story. Her business doubled, then tripled. The door opened. Her account manager. Charlie, Andrea Miller is here. Andrea walked in, smiled. Hope I'm not interrupting. Never. How's Lily? Just started kindergarten. Asks about Margot constantly. Andrea sat down. I'm in town for a conference. Thought I'd stop by. They talked for an hour. About motherhood, about healing, about the bizarre sisterhood of women who'd survived the same man. When Andrea left, she hugged Charlie hard. You're going to be okay. Better than okay. How do you know? Because you chose her over comfort. That's all kids really need. Dominic had completed 6 months of therapy, minimal improvement according to his therapist. Supervised visits started when Margot was 18 months old. Once a month, 2 hours. Grace handled drop-offs, reported back each time. He's awkward with her, tries to impress her with expensive toys she's too young to care about. Does Margot like him? She tolerates him. She's fine. Fine. Not great, not bonded, fine. Charlie felt guilty about the relief that brought. Mason started dating Emma seriously, a public defender, strong, smart. Is it serious? Charlie asked at dinner. Mason smiled. Yeah, I think it is. Good. You deserve someone who makes you smile like that. You do too. Someday. Someday is a long way away. Therapist said that was normal. You're allowed to take as long as you need. So Charlie focused on Margot, on work, on building security. She bought a house, small, 2-bedroom, but hers. No one could take it. Margot's room was sage green, same color as before, but different. This time in a house that was safe. That was theirs. Trish got married to someone kind, someone boring in the best way. Charlie was maid of honor. At the reception, someone asked, do you think you'll get married someday? Maybe, if I meet someone who makes marriage feel like freedom instead of a cage. That's very specific. Yeah, experience will do that. Julian Pierce died 8 months after his heart attack. His will held. $10 million split between Lily and Margot. Dominic contested it, spent hundreds of thousands on lawyers. Lost. Bethany called after the final ruling. It's done, the money is safe. How's Dominic handling it? Not well, but that's not our problem anymore. Charlie sat in her car outside the grocery store, not paralyzed, just choosing 5 minutes of stillness. Inside, someone called her name. A pregnant woman. 6 months maybe. I saw your Instagram post about the prenup. I'm in your situation now. Everything feels wrong. Charlie set down her avocado. You're not paranoid. Trust yourself. The woman showed Charlie a document, 70 pages, just like Dominic's. What do I do? You call a lawyer, you document everything, and if it feels wrong, you walk away. Charlie handed her a business card. My brother's a lawyer. Call him. What happened to you after you walked away? Everything fell apart. Then everything came together. Different than I planned. Better than I planned. Better how? I'm free. My daughter is safe. I built a life on my terms. The woman wiped her eyes. Thank you. You made me realize I'm not crazy. You're not crazy. You're protecting yourself. There's a difference. That night, Charlie recorded a video for Margot. Hi, baby girl. You're 18 months old right now, sleeping in your room. You don't know this story yet. Someday you will. Here's what I learned. Love shouldn't cost you your dignity. Partnership shouldn't require you to be smaller. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. Your father isn't a villain. He's a human who hasn't learned to be better. That's on him, not you. You're not responsible for healing broken men. You're worthy because you exist. I almost married someone who saw me as a problem instead of a person. The hardest thing I ever did was walk away. Not everyone understood. Some said I should have tried harder, forgiven more, been less public, less angry, less much. But I'm teaching you that women don't have to be less anything. We can be the full, complete, complicated versions of ourselves. I hope you never need this advice. But if you ever find yourself counting roses at a table where you're being humiliated, remember your mother walked away, and she built something beautiful on the other side. I love you, Margot Reed. More than words can say. You saved me by existing, by giving me a reason to fight. Thank you for being exactly who you are. Love, Mom. Charlie stopped recording, saved the video, then went to get her daughter who was awake. Mama. Hi, baby. Did you sleep well? Margot reached for her. Charlie picked her up, felt the solid weight of her. This human, worth everything. The call came from Judge Morrison's clerk. Mr. Pierce filed a motion to increase visitation, hearing next month. Charlie's stomach dropped. On what grounds? He claims significant therapy progress. His therapist disagrees, but he hired a new therapist who supports him. Of course, bought a favorable opinion. Charlie watched Margot at the park later, 20 months old, fearless on the swing. Dominic wanted more time, would keep fighting. Charlie could fight back, would fight back, but she was tired. Andrea texted, heard about the motion, want to talk? Yes, but later. Right now I'm at the park with my daughter. Present, not fighting, just being. That's perfect. That's victory. Victory. Charlie thought about that word. A year ago, victory meant Dominic destroyed. Now victory meant Margot laughing, safe. Unaware of the battles fought for her, victory meant Charlie had gone days without thinking about him, then weeks. Building a life where he was irrelevant. Victory meant indifference. The hearing about visitation happened 4 weeks later. Dominic's new therapist claimed remarkable progress. Charlie's lawyer presented evidence otherwise. Canceled visits, incomplete parenting, classes, no meaningful change. Judge Morrison reviewed everything, looked at Dominic. Mr. Pierce, you found a therapist willing to say what you want to hear. Unfortunately, I'm interested in actions, not words. You've canceled 20% of visits, failed to complete my ordered parenting course. She denied the motion. Visitation remains supervised, once monthly. We'll revisit when Margot turns 3. Outside, Dominic's lawyer approached. My client offers $2 million for full custody rights when Margot turns 5. Charlie didn't slow down. Tell your client no, my daughter isn't for sale. Be reasonable, Ms. Reed. I'm reasonable. I have a home, a business, a daughter who knows she's loved. I don't need his money. He's her father. He's a DNA donor. There's a difference. 2 years after the rehearsal dinner, Good Morning America called for an interview. Anniversary piece. Where are you now? Would you do it again? Charlie agreed. Only if they interview Andrea too and talk about systemic issues, not just personal drama. The interview happened in Charlie's home. Do you regret going public? No. It cost me, but staying silent would have cost more. What would you say to women in similar situations? Document everything. Trust yourself. Accept help. You're not alone. Any message for Dominic? No, he's not relevant anymore. My focus is raising Margot to be strong and unafraid. Do you think you'll marry again? Maybe, if I meet someone who understands that partnership is about freedom, not possession. Someone who sees Margot and me as a blessing, not a burden. The interview got 4 million views. Went viral. Again, messages flooded in, most from women saying, me too. One message from Lily's stepfather. Lily's 7 now. She watched your interview. Asked if Margot's mom was like her mom. If you both had the same problem with Dominic. We told her yes, she wants to meet Margot properly. Would you be open? Charlie typed back, yes, absolutely. Those girls should know each other. They met at the coast, a beach house for the weekend, Andrea's family. Charlie's family, Grace, Mason, and Emma. The adults were awkward, too much shared trauma, but the girls were easy. Lily at 7, Margot at 2.5. You're my sister, Lily announced, held Margot's hand on the beach. Charlie watched them, watched Lily show Margot shells. Andrea stood beside her. They're going to be okay. How do you know? Because we're okay, and we're teaching them. That's all anyone can do. That night, Emma announced she was pregnant. They celebrated, this family getting bigger, more complicated, more beautiful. Charlie checked on both girls later, sleeping. Lily's arms stretched toward Margot, protecting her little sister even in sleep. Charlie took a photo, sent it to Andrea. Look at them. They're going to be okay. Better than okay. They're going to change the world. 3 years after the rehearsal dinner, Charlie's business had grown beyond imagination. 10 employees, featured in magazines, speaking at conferences. Accidentally famous. The woman who said no to a millionaire, who chose her daughter over money. Margot was 3, in preschool, drawing pictures of family, Grandma Grace, Uncle Mason, Aunt Emma, Lily, always Lily. Dominic appeared sometimes, a stick figure off to the side, present but separate. The last time Charlie saw him was 6 months ago, at pickup. She's beautiful, he'd said. She is. She looks like you. Lucky her. Charlotte, I'm sorry for everything. Stop. I don't need your apology. I needed it 3 years ago. Now I'm indifferent, and indifference is the best thing you ever gave me. She'd walked away, free, present day. Charlie waited outside preschool, early, choosing peace before chaos. Message from a journalist, writing about women who reject settlements. Would you be interviewed? Charlie considered, tired of telling her story, but somewhere someone needed to hear it. Yes, but include statistics about financial abuse and resources. This isn't just my story. Margot ran out, covered in glitter. Mama, I made you a picture. They drove home. Small house, paid for, theirs. Margot showed her drawing, a house, a woman, a girl, a dog they didn't have. Efmo. My family. Charlie hung it on the fridge next to dozens of others. That night, Grace called. You sound happy. I am. Is that weird? It's victory. You built this from nothing. Charlie thought about victory. 3 years ago, it meant Dominic's suffering. Now it meant Margot dreaming about Tom. Charlie's business thriving, going weeks without thinking about him. Victory meant indifference, freedom from caring. Andrea texted, Lily wants Margot to visit this summer. Week-long trip. What do you think? Let's do it. These girls should really know each other. We did it, Charlie. We broke the cycle. We did. For them. For us. For all the women who will come after. Charlie looked up at the stars. Same stars from 3 years ago when her world fell apart. But everything was different now. The woman at the rehearsal dinner, 6 months pregnant, counting roses, was gone. In her place, someone who'd survived, thrived, won. Someone who'd chosen her daughter over everything and built something better. Charlie went inside, checked on Margot one last time. We did it, baby girl. We survived. We thrived. We're going to be okay. Better than okay. She kissed Margot's forehead, walked to her own room, her own bed, in her own house, lay down, closed her eyes. For the first time in 3 years, fell asleep without counting, without fear, without planning battles, just sleep. Just peace, just the quiet satisfaction of a woman who'd fought for herself and won. The end. But also the beginning. 3 years later, I'm still standing, stronger than before. My daughter is thriving, my business is growing, and Dominic, he's just a chapter in a much bigger story. If this story resonated with you, if you've been where I was or you know someone who is, I hope it gave you something. Courage, validation, hope, the knowledge that you're not alone. Share this story with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment telling me what spoke to you. Hit that like button if you believe women deserve better than settling for cruelty disguised as love. And subscribe to this channel, because there are more stories like mine, more women who fought back, more survivors who became thrivers. And every story we share makes the next woman's fight a little easier. You're not alone. You're not crazy. You deserve better. And if you're currently in the situation I was in 3 years ago, trust yourself. Document everything. Accept help. And know that survival is possible. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for believing that women's stories matter. Until next time, choose yourself. Always choose yourself.